Okay, hello YouTube, and welcome to a Loco Fleet video. Now I've been looking forward to doing this for quite some time, at least for the last 2 or 3 other videos I've uploaded. So I've finally managed to sort all the locos out. This video will feature all the locos that I used on the layouts regularly. There will be some that will be missed out. These will just be old ones that don't get run, you know, are too knackered to use, and they're nothing major and you're not missing out on anything, you know. So right, I thought the best way to do it is that I might start with the smallest first and work my way up to the biggest. In this video you'll see engines that you all know. You'll see engines that have been worked on over the festive period. There may be some re-liveries in there, some modifications, and I think there'll be a couple of new locomotives to show you as well that you haven't seen yet. So yeah, here we are at the very first loco, and it is the Rusten, or the Project Rusten. Now, this is probably still fresh in people's memories, but for the people who are new subscribers, I'll just give you a quick lowdown. I watched a video on YouTube of a little Rusten Hornsby shunter being unloaded on some Welsh railway, I can't remember the name, and when I saw it I fell in love with it. And I just had to try and replicate this in some form. So what you see before you is a Nightwing shunter kit, which has been heavily modified and kit bashed, and it fits over the Batman Underground Ernie chassis. It's a very snug fit. The body's not loose on the chassis or anything like that, so it is fit quite nice. I have copied the livery from that little shunter that I saw. It has had some extras added to it. The ladder there that you can see on the bonnet side was to cover up a not a crack, but not the best of fits between the cab and the bonnet. And the air tank is also covering a slight hole, which had to be made to fit over the chassis. The axles on the side are actually from an old coach bogie. And the exhaust is a football pump, and then it's been detailed and heavily weathered and given the fictitious number of number 3. I'm very happy with it. I do love it, and see it was my first ever kit bash. I impressed myself, and yeah, I really like it. Jobs to do with this. The other side isn't weathered. I only concentrated on this side that I tend to run it in, the direction I run it in, and I do need to pick out the handrails in a lighter grey or white as per the prototype. And there's also a bit of touching up with the paint to do around those handrails as well. But yeah, so that's it for the first loco, the little Rusten Hornsby project. Okay, here we have loco number 2. Recent followers will recognise this from the last, or one of the last couple of videos. This is Nancy. Nancy is a new acquisition to the layout. This was purchased off a very good friend of mine. This is again another Nightwing kit. And she's lovely. She's got this very industrial themed orange livery with black tops. She's weathered. She has a very nice prototypical coupling system on there. She has also had an exhaust pipe added, which isn't included in the kit, which I quite like. There's a driver in there. And this runs on a Tenshodo motor bogie, and the Tenshodo motor bogies are absolutely fantastic. Nancy runs like a gem. over any point, over, well, any piece of track. You know, she really is a good runner. So anyone building a kit, you know, after seeing this in action and using this, I would heavily suggest using a 10 shoulder motor. So yeah, there's no plans for this. You know, it was a loving addition to my friend's fleet, and I also love her how she is. So I'm not about to change her. So yeah, she will poodle up and down Common Barn very happily. So there we go, loco number 2, Nancy. Right, here we have loco number 3. People will recognise this. Well, the subscribers will. This is my Hornby Tarmac Sentinel weathered. Now this is becoming up to a year old on the layout. I got this for my birthday last April. Off the wife. Had to have one of these. You know, Hornby only really tend to do the 08s, you know, as real nice models. So when this came out, you know, was looking forward to it massively, and to be honest, it doesn't disappoint. The bodywork's good, the weathering's good. Running for, you know, for a Hornby 040, these are better motors than the 06s, so this one does run better than an 06. It can still have its issues on some points, only some. I very rarely have a problem with it. You know, it does poodle up and down quite confidently on the layout. And I think they're very pleasing on the eye, these little Sentinels. One thing I don't like about them is the interiors. I don't like the bright blue and red interiors, so they could probably do the repaint. So I suppose that could be on the list of things to enhance one day. I have added some chain link couplings on the front, some screw link couplings, which you can't obviously see in that shot. But I don't really have any other plans for this loco. It was a birthday present. I did want this because of how it looked. And out of the 3 Sentinels that were released, I chose this one purely for the weathering. Oh, sorry, I do have one plan. One plan is to cover up the Tarmac logo on the side with the nameplate. So that'll be happening sometime in the future, I would imagine. So yeah, there we have the little Hornby Tarmac Sentinel. Righty, loco number 4, I think, yes. And it's another Sentinel. Now I did say at the beginning of the video that there will be some a couple of new locos to show you, and this is one of them. Now this came to me a couple of weeks ago, and it was given to me by well, by a fellow YouTuber. Very nice chap, very kind chap. Watches the channel, knows I'm a shunter fan, and he very kindly sent me this NCB Sentinel. Now, although I said in the last clip that I picked the Tarmac one for the weathering, out of the liveries, this was my favourite livery for the Sentinels. To me, this is the most prototypical livery, as I'd never seen the Tarmac or the bitumen liveries. But it didn't have the weathering. But this was my favourite livery, and this is just as good as the Tarmac one. Runs just as well, maybe a tiny bit better. It's a lovely loco. It's an absolutely lovely applied livery. You know, I really do like this NCB one. Now I do have a bit of a not a layout plan in my head or anything like that, but I've just got a vision. I've got a vision of this Sentinel on a nice little core themed layout, nice little micro layout, with one of the Hornby J94s in matching liveries. I've just got this vision. You know, I might do it one day. Not sure of the layout or anything like that, but I can just see this working quite nice with one of the Hornby Steamies. You know, it's a nice livery, it's a well-known livery, So yeah, but anyway, we'll see about that. So yes, there was local number 4 and a new one to you all, the Hornby NCB Sentinel. Alright, loco number 5. Now, this loco is lovingly known by my son as Rusty, purely because from the Thomas series there is a little narrow gauge orange diesel on there called Rusty. Now this particular loco is one of the Bachmann Junior diesel shunters, and it was my friend again who got me into this. I'd seen one and I thought it's ripe for some modification, some prototypical enhancement, and it would turn out really to be a decent little shunter. Now my friend has got one of these and he has done a stonking job with his. He is a BR black livery, and he really has done a good job. Mine's nowhere near as good, but for this one, you know, it was green. And at that time I always wanted an orange shunter, so it was repainted into orange, and actually probably one of the best painting I've ever done. It's got a really good nice finish as that. So yeah, it went into orange. I kept the wash stripes, I gave it some yellow buffer beams, I added some bigger buffers. I think they were originally for a class 33. Giving it a BR logo there on the cab. It also has a nameplate of Sans Perale. And this, you know, it really does run as well as the rest of the Bachmann models. It's not too dissimilar from the Bachmann 04 in looks and in running as well. It really does run just as well as one of the 04s. So anyone out there who wants to have a, you know, a go at a re-livery or you know, enhancing a loco, I really suggest getting one of these. It runs well, it looks well enough to me for an industrial diesel shunter. So yeah, have a go. Plans, it is weathered just down this side. This is one of my earlier weathering jobs, practicing some streaking and things like that. It's probably too heavy on the running plate and the buffer beam, so it probably needs taking down a bit. One thing I would like to do with this is the windows. With it being the junior model, or you know, I suppose aka toy, it doesn't have glazed windows, it has black plastic moulds in there. That's the only thing about the model that really lets it down in my eyes. If I thought I was skilled enough to try and trim those out and replace with perspex, then I would. But yeah, that's the only letdown I have for this model. So no real plans. But yeah, a good little project. So there we go, the Bachmann Junior diesel shunter. Right, loco number 6, and the last of the industrial shunters, shall we say, is the new Hornby Baguley. Again, this was in one of my latest videos. Was very sceptical, but also very you know, excited. Was looking forward to this when Hornby announced it. I was very wary with it being on the 040 chassis, but I can safely say that this Baguley really does run like a dream. It's a lovely runner. I have started to enhance it. Again, this is one of the reasons why I bought it. These basic models are really good for adding to and modifying and making more realistic. So as you can see there, it's very red. I have researched the original, and to be honest, Hornby haven't got much wrong with it. It is slightly longer, and it does have the standard Hornby toolbox there on the side, but other than that, Hornby have got it spot on. So yeah, I've started to enhance. I'm showing you it this way around purely to show the lamps on the back, and if you look closely, just here, you can see a driver in there. So that's all I've done so far, a driver and lamps. I do have other plans for it. It needs weathering. I'll just turn it round. So yeah, it needs weathering. It's ripe for a weathering job. especially those buffer heads. I'm dying to tackle those buffer heads with some rust and grease. Other than the weathering job, I don't have many plans for it at the moment. I'm sure more things will surface to do with it, but for the time being it just needs a good weathering, maybe a lamp on the front as well. So yeah, there we go, the new Hornby Baguley. Time for loco number 7. BR Blue Class 03 Shunter. Now this is the older Batman mainline variant. Snapped this up on eBay a long time ago, between £20 and £30, brand new. Runs very well, not as well as the newer Batman models, but nonetheless still runs very well. What else to say about it? It has the usual standard Batman figure in there, the Batman detailing, there's lamps on the front, there's the handrails. Plans for this, I do want to paint the handrails white, paint the lamps white. I don't want to weather it, I do like it as it is. And really that's it for this one. One thing I will mention about this loco, what I do find very quirky, you can see there at the front the vac pipe is slanted. And when I got this model, I thought this was a fault. I thought it had been broken and someone had bodged it, but it is actually like it on both ends. And when I went on my little trip with my good friend to Peak Rail, their Class 03 there is the same. I didn't research it at the time, so when I saw that one in real life and saw that on a prototype that also had a slanted vac pipe, I was a little happier. But yeah, that appeals to my quirky loco nature. So yeah, there it goes. I also wanted it for the flower pot chimney. I love flower pot chimneys on these little shunters. It's such a nice little touch. So yeah, there we have the Batman mainline Class 03. Right, now then, here we have loco number 8, and as you can see, this is a Batman Class 04. Now this is the first of, shall I say, a mini fleet within the fleet, is this 04, and this was the first loco that I ever received off my good friend. In fact, I can remember the story well. We were talking about shunters, and he offered me a black one or a green one, and I chose the black. Mainly because I didn't have a black loco at the time. It's a lovely model, lovely weathering, lovely runner, as per with the Batman shunters. And yeah, it's a stonking little model. There's no plans to do anything with this loco. I think it's fine enough as it is. Detailing has been added down one side. There's handrails there on the cab, and I do need to do the other side now that I have more detailing back. So yeah, this is the first 04 BR Black, and here is the second 04. So as before mentioned, you know, my friend offered me the black one and the green one, and he very kindly sent me the black and the green one. Such is his good nature. This is exactly like the black one. It's weathered, runs brilliantly as well. This is also the detailing added down this side. I purely added them down these sides because these were the directions that I ran them in. I just always ran them in the same direction so that you could see the detailing. No plans to do anything with this one either. You know, these weathered 04s, I really do like them. I think they're beautiful looking models. So I'm not about to start chopping and changing stuff around or splashing paint around here and there. This one's a tad noisier than the black one, but that's something and nothing to me. So yeah, that's the second 04. Okie doke, here we have loco number 10. And as you can see, this is quite a unique loco. This is the third Class 04, and this one has been re-liveried into EWS. Now, I was inspired by this after doing my EWS Class 20. Longer subscribers will remember me doing that. And when I'd done that, I thought, well, I've got to have a shunter in that livery as well. Mainly because I had all the paints left over, so I thought I'd use them up. So anyway, went for this 04. This 04 was in a scrap box off my friend, and he said it wasn't the best run in the world, but I've got it going reasonably well. It's not as well as the other two we've just seen. It's less reliable, but you know, it runs. It's all right. There's some broken handrails and things on there. The plan was when I did this that it was going to be heavily weathered, mainly because this livery never existed on 04. So my little plan was that, you know, one was painted up like this, but it never hit off, and it ended up being abandoned and, you know, never used again. But I haven't got around to weathering it yet, so that is one of the plans to weather it. And that's about it really for this loco. One thing I do like about this loco is, I'll just turn it round, is the full yellow end on the back that I gave it with that red buffer beam. I really like that. I was really glad I did that. When I did it, I was unsure whether it was too much. I was just going to give it a half yellow warning panel and do the top around the cab windows in the maroon. But the more I see it, the more I love it. So yeah, there we go, my fictitious EWS Class 04. Okay, here we have the last 04, number 4 of the Class 04 fleet. This is one of the newer arrivals on the layout. I showed it in my 2015 update. Again, like all my 04s, this was from my friend. He put it in his layaway box of Matthews models that I wanted to purchase off him, and he unexpectedly sent this at Christmas. Still need to pay him for it actually, really. But yeah, just like the black and the green one, beautiful, weathered. No plans to do anything with it. You know, as I've said with the other two, I really like the liveries and the weathering on them, so no plans to change anything. One thing I will do is add the detailing. I haven't put any on this yet, but I will get round to doing it. And hopefully I'll get some running shots of this. You know, these new locos for you. So yeah, there we go, the last Class 04 in the little mini 04 fleet. Alright, loco number 12, and it is the Hornby Class 06. Now this has received some work over the festive period. You can see there on the front there it's had some extra detailing added. It's not finished yet, it's just something I've you know, I've just chipped away at now and then. And what I've added to it, as you can see, this rather large white piping along the front. Now I did some research into these 06s. You know, these older models and the lesser detail models, I like to you know, have a revamp with them, make them look a bit better. Doing research, I found that these Class 06s carried this pipe along the front there underneath the grille, and it comes from the pipe on the buffer beam, and it just comes up and then follows along the front of the radiator, and then just disappears into a hole. So I've built that just from little plastic sprues from kits, cut them to size, sanded the corners off a little bit to join them together. So yeah, it's white. There's a red connection there on the buffer beam, which you might just be able to pick out in the shadows that is red. Whilst I was at it, I added a lamp there on the front. Other things to do that I would like to do with it is some bigger buffers. I always think these 06s have smaller buffers, and I won't mind some chain links on the front. And if I just turn it round, I'll be able to see what else I did with it. And just pick out there, I added this ladder on the side, just down there to the filler cap. So yeah, I weathered it a long time ago. I don't think the weathering's too bad on this one actually. Could probably do the tad toning down. But yeah, so it's not finished. It's a little project I keep going back to and doing things on. I do have another 06 which I'm not going to show in this video. It is in my way back in my first loco overhauls video. I re-liveried one into yellow, but it doesn't run too well on that 06. But this 06 is an absolute pearler. Slow, smooth, even over points. Yeah, it's a cracking 06 is this. So there you go, loco number 12. Right, onto the class 08s, and my undoubtedly favourite class 08 is this St. Blazy Haulier shunter. Now, as the name suggests, this is out of the St. Blazy Haulier Packman set, in a rather fetching BR blue with red beams and rods. This came with some China clear wagons and a brakeman, and it's a lovely little model, brilliant runner. You can see that I've added the Scotty Dog transfer. This is just you know, I like the Highland liveries and things like that, and I like these little logos. So I got ordered some transfers and added one onto my little class 08. No plans to do anything with this. I really like this livery, so more than likely keep it in this pristine condition. Maybe in a set of nameplates might improve it, and I may just add a bit of weathering around the exhaust port on the top. But yeah, the first class 08, the St. Blazy Haulier. Right, class 08 number 2. Now you'll all recognise this 08 mainly for its range of liveries and disguises that it has carried over its time. And as you can see, it has changed again. Now, I did say at the beginning of the video that there will be some new locos and some works on locos, and this is one of them. Now, its previous guise was still in the BR black, but with a yellow roof and a yellow toolbox end. Now, as you can see, I have reverted it all back to BR black. It did have an extra lamp on the front which I've removed. It has gained the BR Cycling Lion transfer on there, and it has also gained a nameplate there on the toolbox, Glider Fower. So yeah, I've gone back to the original BR black. It's much more prototypical, and I've always liked this livery on the 08. I've retained the wasp stripes on the rear, and it still has those quirky ploughs on the front. I may get rid of those, to be honest. You know, I'd never seen it before and it attracted me, and you know, I've carried it out in model form, but now they're on there, I don't know, they're starting to play on my mind a bit as looking a bit strange, so they might go. But you know, we've tried it and we've done it, so we've seen it. The only other thing I need to do on this is I need to give the roof a coat of matte varnish. This is still, I only had a gloss black left for the a gloss black left for the roof there. So yeah, that needs doing. And other than that, she's finished. She's a good runner. She's started life in BR grey. So yeah, she's the real pet shunter of the layout. Okay, here we have the last class 08, my third class 08, and my scrap class 08. Now, I love this. I absolutely love it. It doesn't get run overly often, but nevertheless I love it, mainly because of the weathering job. it's probably one of the best weathering jobs I've ever I've ever given to a loco. And I know it's not, you know, a prototypical weathering job, you know, like with highlighted areas or anything like that, and it is just a complete absolute body of scrap and rust. But I like rust, I like weathering, you know, and I just love this. The idea came about, I'd seen some scrap 08s, some weathered 08s for sale on eBay, but they were non-runners, so I thought if I can pick one up and, you know, achieve the same effect with a running one, then I'd be happy. So I got this, think a tenner off eBay. It was one of the old Hornby class 08s, brand new more or less, ran like a dream. Well, it does run like a dream. It was in the red and black parcels livery, so scrap that and give it an all over weathering and rusting. I haven't done the chassis as yet, so at the minute it's playing a role of, you know, it were a knackered 08, it has a brand new chassis but it's still awaiting a new body, but it has managed to salvage a door and a toolbox off a BR Blue 08, which I think just adds to the appeal of it. But yeah, there you go, this is my my scrap 08, so one of my best weathering jobs, you know that, and really like this, really happy with it. Okay, on to the next one. Right, now before we move on to the larger locos, it's best just to get this little pair out of the way. Now here we have Bill and Ben from Thomas the Tank Engine. I've always liked this pair, even as a little one. I think it was the bright colours and the, you know, the dinkiness of them. Anyway, nostalgia crept in and memoirs, you know, and I had a beam on it that I needed to have these two. Anyway, these are actually a wedding present off the missus when we got married. They are the Batman models. I chose the Batman models purely because they're more to scale than the Hornby ones. These are really quite small, which like they are in real life, you know, based on the Port of Par twins, and we all know how small they are. The Hornby ones were slightly bigger, and these just well detailed as well. These also feature the moving eyes when the locos are running, so I usually run them together. My little one likes to come out and you know, he uses these. Very good runners, not many complaints. These are actually replacements. The original pair went back, started to screech and wobble on the tracks and all sorts, so these are a replacement pair and these are perfect. Real good runners, you know, and for 040 chassis they are magnificent runners actually. No point work or any track work stops them, you know, they're really good runners. So yeah, there we have Bill and Ben.